Hello, everybody. It's good old Bear and Bananas here again. So, it's Monday. As I said on Twitter at the end of the last stream, every other day this week is going to be me playing, going through a visual novel. I only have one visual novel in mind, because I think it's one I could potentially get through in 4 days based off of, well, my history with it. Just looking back at it. I'm going to start that up in a few minutes. Just trying to get a few last minute things dealt with. Mostly if I even sound okay. Like, am I able to be heard right now? I feel like still got that issue happening. I really wish my old headset didn't break. Wouldn't have as many problems. But oh well. So, I'm going to start it up in the background, and I'll just let everybody guess what it is I've got running. Sound good? Perfect. Okay, I'm starting it up in the background. You should be hearing it shortly. Alright, I got it up in the background. Thankfully, I can control the volume of this game either through OBS or through the game itself. It's hella loud. How's that now? I turned it way the heck down. Okay, good. I don't know, it's set about as high as my usual game, so I don't know. Well, it was. Now it's a lot lower than my normal games. Now, I had to fiddle around a little bit with OBS in order to actually get this to show up on it, because it doesn't recognize it as a game for whatever reason. Probably because it's slightly older than that. I don't know. But OBS doesn't recognize it as a game in game capture. I have to capture it in window capture. Okay. Swap over to my new one. Is it gonna appear? There we go. It just immediately knew what I wanted. I figure, why the heck not? Let's just do it. And I'm gonna see if this even works. If I have the permissions set right. Most Nancy Drew games have been window capture. Thankfully, it's easy, and thankfully this thing was already preset to choose it, even though I tested it last night, closed the window, then closed OBS, so I guess it just saved the choice, which is cool. Alright, let's see, can I change the... Let's see if I can change the title of my stream now that I've kind of semi-revealed. Valentine's Day... Lead up... Let's see, will it work? Will it work? Will this work? Alright, cool. Apparently that worked. So yeah, I'm gonna try and go through Katawa Shoujo. This is a game I definitely have played before, but it's just too good that I have to play again. I said I wanted to play it. First I gotta do that. I mean, that stuff comes a little later, but I still need to turn that off. And I know at some point I'm gonna have to swap screens very briefly, because I tested that last night, and yeah, it gets rid of the CGs, but it doesn't get rid of the lead up to it. Which I definitely can't show that on Twitch. Yep. Streamer problems. That's why I went with something I know and I had saves for, so I could see, alright, if I turn this option off, what's gonna happen when I get to these scenes? I just literally hit the skip everything, just watched everything go through. When it got to that, it's like, alright, the sprites and the normal thing changed, so I can't show that. But the actual drawn scenes, okay, they replaced that with like a mouse eating an apple or something. Just random pictures. I'll probably still cut away the whole time, because that's just kind of weird text to have on screen. I don't know. It's going to be a while before I get to any of that, depending on who I get. I removed all of my save files and all of my progress from the game. They're not in the folder, but I still have them, so I won't know what choices I've already made. Everything's gone. So this is a fresh start. And yeah, I'm just gonna go from there. I've seen a lot of people play this game when those scenes come up, and they'll usually put their logo or something else over top, and it's just hilarious. Like, the screen just gets covered with it sometimes. Sadly, I can't do that kind of thing on the fly. But, So my general idea for this is, I want to try to get through, at least attempt to get through one act per stream. Because there's 4 acts for overall. Once you're on a route, it's 4 acts overall. So Act 1 is the lead up, figuring out which one, and then 3 acts with the specific girl. I want to attempt 1 a stream. Probably won't happen, I don't know. I mean, the longest runtime I've had on any of my save files was about 8 hours, and I know for a fact I've left the game running and walked away sometimes. So, they're a little inflated. So I think it's doable. Yeah, this is just my plan for Valentine's Day. Just an act a day, ending it off on Valentine's Day. See if I become a blubbering mess along the way. There's gonna be a crap lot of me talking in this. I know that for a fact. This is very, very dialogue heavy, with no voice acting. Because, well, again, this was made by a bunch of people off of 4chan. Which actually, I just might as well just explain exactly what this game is before I even start. For anyone that's watching now, or will watch the VOD later. So, Katawa Shoujo, if translated directly from Japanese, stands for cripple girls or disabled girls. This is a visual novel that you go to a school and strike up relationships with girls with varying physical disabilities. Its origins initially started as just a concept page back from like the very early 2000s at the back of a dojin. Just kind of, what if there was a game where the girls had of dating sim where the girls had disabilities? The guy drew up concept art for just each girl and just kind of a brief summary of what their personality would be like. And then nothing was heard of it until quite a few years later, where it ended up on 4chan. And then people got talking, and then a few other people started kind of really talking about it seriously, and then it just came, hey, what if we actually make this game? And so they did. Just a small group of random people off the internet got together on whatever off time they had, working in mostly somewhat independently, somewhat together, scoring music, getting art together, learning how to, use RenPy, and then just, then they released this. And as much as a joke as it would seem, a girl about dating cripples, made by people off of 4chan, they took it seriously. This is a very, very good, visual novel. Don't know what else to say without actually spoiling anything that happens in it. But I mean, again, they took a concept that was just kind of a joke and made it into a real thing. What other options do I got here? I don't need to put it in full screen mode because you guys have it in full screen. I have it windowed. If it goes to full screen, I lose my access to OBS and everything becomes stretched. Because unfortunately, you can't change the window size. It's only got its standard small window, and then it's got stretch it to your full screen, so everything's kind of massive. But whatever. They even have language options, surprisingly. English, Spanish, French, and Japanese, and I think a bunch of independents translated it into Russian. So this game has a pretty good following. Despite nothing else coming from the group that, nothing else related to this has come out from the group since. So, I mean, this was literally like a 1 in a million thing. You're not going to get something like this happening again. Okay, I think I've drowned on long enough. Let's just get into Katawa Shoujo. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. Breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 p.m. Ah yes, the note. Slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. Snowflakes silently falling from the white-painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Oh, this freaking music. I love it. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time has slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. Isao? You came? hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. Iwanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it! I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line, and that was the result. Pathetic. Yes. I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle, even if I tried. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst out of my chest and claim this girl for itself. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches. The cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. My throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I stand there motionless, save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Misao? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Misao? My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Hisao! The beating in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant clatter of the branches above. Yeah, what a way to start that off, huh? Animation, all done by one guy, by the way. It's not much animation, but it's actually pretty good. been 4 months since my heart attack. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts, so I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. A strange word. A foreign, alien one. One that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. It causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently, I've had it for a long time. Said it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I had already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from my treatments. When I was first admitted, I felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts began to trickle down to nothing shortly after. I realized that the only reason I'd gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people were generally concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they're in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So, I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left in my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows there's at least some hope. At some point I stopped watching TV. I don't know why, I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital. That was more like a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I think I even became a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. It felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass I was trapped inside, instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance that I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I have to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely. And I couldn't even cry. Today, the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. There's this ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers and setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks at me. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. Hello, Hisao. How are you today? I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. I believe you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and look at it myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. This is insane. Side effects, adverse effects, contradictions and dosages are listed line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All of this, for the rest of my life, every day? I'm afraid that is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents, and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please calm down, Hisao. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down? The way he says it tells me he knew full well that I wouldn't like it. Am I gonna be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. Well, we understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So, I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? Am I? It has a 24-hour nursing staff, and it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of the students live on the campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. it was really that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. You went out there and had a look a couple weeks back. I think you'd like it. Looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamn opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one... Special school. That's... an insult. That is what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help, in one way or another. Your father's right, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. I really hate that something so important was decided for me. But what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I'd always thought my life was actually kind of boring. But now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now. Something about how I can go back to school anyway. But no. I don't say anything. The fact is that I know now it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school... What are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That's all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something. Even if it's a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start. And my life isn't over. It'd be a mistake to just resign myself to thinking that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new life will look like. Yeah, he's not having a good time. Act 1. Life expectancy. Yeah, so good old Hisao here had a heart attack. 4 months later, he can finally leave the hospital. But he's kind of super depressed about it. I mean, I kind of would too if something like that happens. Like, wow, my heart is shit. If it beats too fast, I could just drop dead. All at the ripe old age of 18, I'm pretty sure? Yeah, he's 18. Like, that's quite the bombshell. Yeah, happy 18th birthday. You've got a horrible heart defect. Good luck. Alright. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, Gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, and gray plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wonder if it looked like what a gate for a school would look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked toward the main building of Yamaku Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have. More like a park, with a clean walkway going past trees and the smell of fresh grass and all other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my head. Makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies, too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told about this, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head, it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of a school for the disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kinda eerie. Makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum in the wind and the green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. Makes me think about hospitals again. How they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. So why am I feeling so anxious, despite all this greenery? Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous and with this realization set in my head, I open the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. Tall man with bad posture. Sounds like me with a few extra inches. And by a few, I mean a lot. I hate being 5'6". Surrounded by 6-foot giants. You must be Nikki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom teacher and homeroom and science teacher. My name's Muto. Welcome. We exchange a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh. Should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow, not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost miss what the teacher was saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Alright. We finally got presented with our first choice. So, all throughout the first act, we're going to be presented with a bunch of choices. Mostly 2, sometimes we'll get 3. And each one obviously counts towards something. So, me choosing this option will give me points towards certain routes, while choosing this option will get me points to another route. And so on and so forth. There's a lot of them could be just totally innocuous, like this. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class or not? Sometimes a random choice you make actually sets you down a path you didn't realize, and there's no turning back. So, what am I going to choose for my first choice here? Am I gonna, say I'll introduce myself to the class, or question why should I even bother? Oh yeah, and the little squares you see at the end of the decisions? When you play through the game multiple times, if you've already chosen an option, it'll have a check mark. So if you want to go back and see what the other option does, you'll know which ones you've already chosen. So it's a little handy after when you go through it a second or third time, or fourth, or fifth. 6 is like the maximum, just to experience everything once. But then there's the other stuff. Then there's multiple endings and crap. But well, yeah, whatever. We'll get to that when we get to that. So for now, I'm gonna say, yeah, of course. I'll introduce myself. Let's not be a pariah in this school. Yeah, sure. I mean, isn't that normal? Well, of course. But not everyone likes to be the center of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. Third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for class 3-3. Muto opens the door and enters. Morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step, I know that. But there isn't any point to worrying so much about it. At least not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I don't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. It's pretty spacious. Ceiling is unusually high, and there's lots of lots of space left over around and in between the desks. An entire wall taken up by blackboards and the high old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. Students' desks are just standard wooden desks with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. stop walking in front of the classroom and face the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school. Then, why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them, only it's just not immediately obvious. Then I notice that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb of her right hand. It's a little jarring. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. I notice a flash of dark hair and see someone is looking at me. A girl with really long, straight hair that is pretty eye-catching. As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it were to make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rim of her glasses, then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute. So is the cheery-looking girl with pink hair sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our new classmate. He claps his hands, and so does everyone else, except for one girl in the first row who only has one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. A collective silence tells me that I should open my mouth now. So, I'm Hisao Nakai. And after that, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone, even though I'm a new student. And after that, I'm being boring. It's exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied, even with what little I said, though. A few girls are whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. Could have gone worse. I listen to the teacher as he drones about getting along while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. First row girl claps on this round with her one hand against the other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. Makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She's the class representative. She could explain anything you might need to know. And who wants to be able to do better than that? Do that better, right? How could I know? Teacher passes out the day's assignments and announces that we'll be working in groups of 3. It hits me that I don't even know who Hakamichi is. Slow. The teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh, right. Hakamichi's right there. Shizune Hakamichi. God damn it. Fuck. Great, now I gotta come up with a voice for the... Damn it. This will be fun. Girl voice is the bane of my existence, and that's a majority of this damn cast. Why do I do this to myself? As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with bright pink hair and golden eyes waves her hand at me. I take a seat next to her by the window, because of course you sit next to the window. You're gonna be one of those casual anime pro tags where you sit at the window, potentially toward the back of the class, and just kinda stare off, looking at nothing. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? Nice to meet you. Oh, good lord. God damn it. What? Caught off guard by her laughter.
It's nice to meet you too, but I'm not Hakamichi. I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Shi-chan.
Giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she's been staring at me this whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She has short yet carefully, neatly brushed hair, a pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of her dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Akamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, "You'll be able to talk to people," and "better to explain things to you."
I can see you're a little confused, right? Right? But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you too. ...
That's the majority of Shizune's dialogue. ... Because she cannot talk, obviously.
You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing up there for no reason. Right? Right. Seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know you would be here today. So soon. He-chan, right? He-chan? Yep. Fits, doesn't it?
Did I say it out loud? It's just a surprise. I've never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. Oh, fucking Misha.
It fits. You look just like I imagined. Yeah, you look just like a He-chan.
I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Akamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands a blur. Misha seems a little overwhelmed.
Sorry about that. Shi-chan wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her.
More like ask you so you can ask her, who will then tell you what you then tell me. That's not gonna get confusing and weird.
Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you haven't had time to walk around and familiarize yourself with it.
Misha stumbles the hard word a bit, making it stick out from her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks. That would be pretty helpful. Yeah, I just kinda came straight to class today. And most of Misha's dialogue is laughing. Oh, goddamn, what have I gotten myself into already? I always make terrible decisions. And I feel like I probably won't be able to get through all of Act 1 in 2 hours. I'll see, though.
That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there. Not just with school, either. Always. Even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really, Shi-chan?
Learn about where you're going. I guess I didn't bother to do that, or just didn't care enough to do so. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to go along with it half-assedly. But anyway. I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends in a shrug. What was that? Seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply.
You look down. Are you okay? Don't take it the wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test.
Oh, God. Kill me now. And they're in, like, most of Act 1, too. Ugh. What have I done? Alright. Please stop talking, Misha and Shizune.
And another thing, you don't have to call Shi-chan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Shi-chan. Okay, maybe that's too casual. Maybe Shizune would be more appropriate.
God damn it, Misha.
Yep. Shizune is fine.
Okay, that would be a lot easier for me. I feel a lot more at ease. Both of them seem so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that. Just less so, I guess.
Huh? Oh, right. We haven't even touched the assignment. We should start work now, or Shi-chan will get mad.
The assignment is also kind of long, so we should start now if we want to finish it before the end of class. Insert wahaha here. God damn it. This is so weird.
That too.
Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message.
After class, we can take a walk around the grounds together. It's a nice day today, okay?
The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of both being difficult and unnecessarily long. So all assignments anytime. Still, we finished it in a few minutes earlier than anyone else in class, despite our late start. Shizune and Misha are really capable. Choking on my own spit here. Now I know how Jen feels. They're quite different, though. class rep is as calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is a lot more playful and girlish, not to mention a little more easily distracted. To be honest, two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. Clock tower bell ring, signaling the end of the period. Time for lunch. Without knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who's beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. We descend even below the lobby where I met Muto, down to the bottom floor. Just like everything else in this school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Its big windows open to the courtyard toward the main gate.
It's the cafeteria!
Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare. Misha doesn't seem to care, so we proceed to the line. There's a rather long list of menu options, which seems great, until I realize that many of them are to accommodate students who need special diets. How nice. It almost feels like I'm back in the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to a table sitting opposite of her. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me in the side to get my attention and points to Shizune. I don't understand signs, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at the person who talks to you is proper and polite? Actually, it's a good question. Is that what you're supposed to do if someone has an interpreter? They're the one talking to you, so do you focus on them while just listening to the interpreter off to the side? I mean, that feels like the right thing to do. Because they want to have a conversation with you.
Do you want to know something?
What?
About anything. You're your guide, so you should ask if there's something.
I wonder. Alright, what do I ask here now? I got three options. I think I got everything I need to know. Ask about Shizune's deafness, or ask about the library. Asking about her deafness seems kind of rude, in my opinion. I think I got everything I need to know. Bro, you just showed up to this place, or practically dragged into class, and are now immediately taken to a cafeteria. You know nothing about this place. Asking about the library seems like the best option, because one, you like reading, so you want to know where all the books are. And two, it gives you a new place you can go to. You'll probably learn something more about the school in the library. So I'm gonna go with that option. Oh yeah, is there a library in the school? Really, I've gotten into reading a lot, so I'd like to check it out. Misha gives a kind of frown that makes it clear she doesn't consider reading a healthy hobby, then picks up her smile again.
There is. It's on the second floor. We can show it to you sometime.
Thanks. I return to my food while the girls talk between themselves. Misha and Shizune sign back and forth very animatedly, throwing sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. I quickly notice a conversation in sign is not enough to fill a silence. We arrive in the classroom early, but we're not the first. That dark-haired girl I noticed before slumped over her desk in the last row. She jumps a little when Misha crashes into the room with the elegance of a rhino. I forgot about that. I forgot that description. Crashing into the room with the elegance of a rhino. She shrinks deeper into her seat. I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she were slowly turning into stone just from our presence. Misha and Shizune either don't notice or don't mind it as they walk directly past her to their seats and begin to converse. I'm left wondering about her, even when the classroom slowly fills with other students and finally the teacher. Getting into the rhythm of school feels strange. It's as if my brain remembers how this is done, but my body doesn't. Toward the end of class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. We've all been there. I shouldn't be this tired on my first day of school. Maybe it's the long time spent in the hospital that made me like this. I'm even feeling physically weak and lifeless. Before long, the final bell rings. School is finally over for the day. Beside me, Misha and Shizune are having a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me.
Unfortunately, we can't stay and show you around today, Hee-chan. We gotta hurry already, since there's a lot of work for us to do. You'll find your way around here. I'm sure of it. Wait! The teacher said I'd have to see the nurse. Where do I have to go? Is that so? We can at least show you that much. Come on! The nurses have their own buildings, so we have to go outside.
Hey, Aqua. Yeah, visual novel stream. I'm deciding every other day this week I'm just gonna go through Katawa Shoujo and really hopefully here, end off a route on Valentine's Day. That's my plan for this week. So, Katawa, regular schedule, Katawa, regular, and then end it off on Sunday. Maybe. Join the flow of students making their way down the stairwell and outside. The girls pointing out other senior classrooms in the same hallway as ours. When we get outside, girls make their way to the smaller building right next to the school. It's built in the same style, so it looks like it's actually part of the main building.
This is the auxiliary building here. There's a lot of official and important stuff inside, like the Yamaku Foundation office and all the nurses' offices. They even have a swimming pool.
How is that official?
Don't be silly, Hee-chan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Anyway, all the nursing staff's facilities are in there too. The head nurse's office is on the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We'll be going then. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. A whole building for stuff that has nothing to do with the actual education? I guess it's necessary for a place like this. I walk in, hoping that this really will only be a quick visit like the teacher said. On a white door on the left is a green cross with the text, Head Nurse, and a nameplate. A voice from the inside responds to my knock almost immediately, but I can't quite make it out. It It sounded a bit like an invitation to open the door, so I invite myself further in. The room is not large and it smells strange. A friendly-looking man turns around on his office chair to face me as I enter. His desk is neat and tidy, but the bin under the table is overflowing with used medical utensils, and there's at least a dozen coffee cup rings lingering on the desk. Hello there! What can I do for you today? He's young-looking and sort of rugged. The dimples on his cheeks wash that impression away when he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles like a person who has heard this very same question hundreds of times. Why, yes I am. It says so on the door, no? You can call me by my name, or just the nurse, like everyone else. Of course. I shake off my confusion, realizing I should probably grab his extended hand. His handshake is rather firm and friendly. Right. I'm a new student, and my homeroom teacher told me to come meet you. My name is Hasao Nakai. His eyes light up with revelation. He snaps his fingers. Oh, you're that Nakai! I was just reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia and related congenital heart muscle deficiency, right? He gestures me to sit down in the vacant armchair in front of his desk. Yes. Good. Well, you've probably been briefed about the school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. There's always someone from my staff around, even at night, so never hesitate to call us if there's a problem. The famous 24-hour nursing staff. Wow, this is like a hospital. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't do brain surgery here. This joke feels so out of place that I'm left thinking why he even said it. Yeah. Just, that is really weird to have so many medical people at a school. You'll get used to it. I'm not so sure of that myself, but I don't let the nurse know it. Now, just let me find your file again. While he searched for something from his computer and shuffled stacks of papers around, I let my gaze wander around the room. It's the epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Beige wall and ceiling, dark gray laminate flooring, and all the equipment you'd expect from a school nurse's office. Even the ridiculous educational posters are hanging on all four walls, reminding me to eat properly 3 times a day from all the food groups. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack of similarly thick files and opens it. So, you already have your medication for the arrhythmia. Just remember to take your pills every morning and evening, or it won't be much help. Apart from that, do you do any sports? Rash stuff like, I don't know, boxing? Grins to his own joke, but I don't. Well, I played soccer occasionally with some classmates. Alright, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to recommend you refrain from doing that. At least for the time being. Oh. My lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really, I'm not too bothered by him forbidding me to kick a ball around. I guess I never did it out of a burning passion for the sport. Just have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart, and risking another attack is not a good idea. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion to the chest area? There is no mention of the cause in your papers. Not exactly. Yeah, do you want to admit to the nurse? Yeah, a girl asked me out and I had a heart attack. Like, that is incredibly embarrassing. Oh, yeah, I met a girl on a cold day. She said she liked me and wanted to go out, and I got so, worked up about it, my heart literally skipped a beat, and I nearly died. I sidestepped the question acceptably, and he glances at me over his papers, with a more serious expression on his face. Still, you need to keep your body healthy, so some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available, as I said, but I don't think you really need such heavy measures. Just get some light exercise regularly. Brisk walks, or even a light jog, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming, maybe? There's a pool here. So I was told. Word? Very good. At any rate, I'm sure you've been told this before, you just need to take care not to overexert yourself. He wags his finger to emphasize the point. No need, really. I've heard this 1,000 times already. Absolutely no unnecessary risks. Take care of yourself. Okay? He goes over my papers one more time and sets them on the desk, obviously content. Good. That's it then. Come meet me if you ever need something. I'm ushered out before I even realize it. Quick visit indeed. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building, although to my eyes, they still look one and the same. It's the first real look I get at the other students, so I watch people coming out of the school going toward the gate or the dorms. Everyone seems to know where they're going. And I still keep thinking that most of them don't look too special for being students at a special school. Then again, neither do I. Does that make me one of them? One of us? I should go somewhere too, to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel tired instead of hungry. The weariness in me only grows as I trudge toward the dorms, set a little way apart from the main building complex. There's a garden of sorts between the school and the dorms, shrubbery, flowers, and that overbearing smell of fresh-cut grass that fills the atmosphere. It dawns on my tired mind that the smell feels novel because I haven't been outside at all for so long. Yeah, buddy, you've been cooped up inside a hospital room for 4 months. Granted, I think most of us right now have generally been cooped up inside our homes for about the same amount of time, if not longer. The dorm building is big and made of red brick. Like the others, it feels way too pompous for what it is. So I push forward and go inside. It takes more time than necessary to fish out the key I was given from my pocket. Room 119. Despite the ornate exterior, the inside of the dorm is fairly new, functional, and boring. Just like in the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. Same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. Poke my head around the corner of the common room door. Inside, a few students are watching the television. One nods and gives a quick hello before turning back to the TV. Seems that only the girls around here are sociable. Suppose that's perfectly fine with me. I climb the stairs to the upper floor. Here, a small corridor branches off from the main hallway. Each of these minor halls seems to have a toilet and shower, as well as 4 rooms. Have I picked a girl yet? Well, I mean, I always have... There's the one that's always going to be in my mind. I'm going to try and go for her. We haven't been introduced to her yet because it's still very early in the game. But I gotta try. I gotta try to go for my girl, Lily. Halfway down the hall, I spy room 119. The nameplates on the room adjacent to mine are blank. Guess there are just two of us here. Light shines from below the door of room 117, so I knock lightly. Hello? Is anyone home? From inside, I hear a few movements, and then the clicking of way more locks than I thought these doors had. After a moment, the door squeaks open. Oh, fucking Kenji. A bespectacled boy is standing in the doorway. He's looking at me very intently through his extremely thick eyeglasses. Who is it? Blind? No, at least not completely. Why would he have eyeglasses if he was? He leans closer to me until our noses are almost touching. His breath stinks of garlic. Sao Nakai. I'm moving into the next room. I thought I should introduce my... His face suddenly brightens in realization, and he stands back upright, thrusting his hand out in a smiling greeting, almost straight into my diaphragm. Oh, sup, dude? Name's Kenji. Hi. I take Kenji's sweaty hand and shake it, still a little rattled by the sudden change of attitude and... word welcome. I don't... Vehement? Yeah. I fail English. Whatever. Yeah, I say over anxious welcome. That's what I'm gonna go with. I don't know. There were some suspicious looking people going in and out of your room earlier. It was probably my parents. Your parents? Sure? Could have just been some other people too. Can't judge a book by its cover. This out-of-place proverb is left hanging between us awkwardly as if I try to think of some way to respond. I'd say the chances are high enough. He shudders and makes some exaggerated hand gestures. You're a brave man, Hisao. Me? I don't think I could trust the chances. The only one I trust is myself. Does that mean I shouldn't get to know you either? Thinks about this for a while. A wise decision. Damn, you are smarter than you look. Probably. What do you look like? I hope not smart. He squints his eyes and leans closer again, but I lean backwards to dodge it. Never mind. It doesn't matter. With that, he turns, fumbles around for a moment in search of the door handle, and shuts the door behind him. Slide the key into the lock of the door marked 119. Bleak beige walls, white linen, a desk made of some type of light wood, ugly curtains. It's no one's room. Impersonal, like my hospital room was. My bags are sitting at the foot of my bed, looking a lot emptier than they did this morning. The closet is sitting open, stocked with my clothes. And it seems there are a number of school uniforms hanging there as well. A notice pinned to the sleeve of one of the shirts. I love how his parents call him He-chan too. Hi, He-chan. We've unpacked your things and made your bed. They said if these don't fit, then you should go to the office tomorrow. If you have any problems, you can always call us. Love, Mom and Dad. Well, at least I don't have to worry about unpacking. Kind of hoped I would have. Then there would be something to do. It's still too early. I put the note down on the desk and lie down on the bed, feeling drained. Lying there makes me want to read something, but I have nothing with me. wonder if the hospital conditioned me for wanting to read whenever I have nothing to do. The restless urge just keeps growing until I have to stand up. Maybe it's stress or something. I was pretty nervous about it before coming, and for the entire day too. Still am, I think. Damn. I have to distract myself somehow, so it won't be this unnatural all the time. Tomorrow, I'll go borrow some books from the library. Yeah, I'll do that. For now, the bottles of medications neatly arranged on my night table catch my eye. I pick up one and shake it just to hear the contents rattle inside, and then read the glued-on pharmacy label. Saunakai, take 2 tablets daily to stay alive. Could you just imagine getting a prescription that said that? Take 2 daily to stay alive. Doesn't really say that, but it could just as well. It's kind of twisted, having your life depend on chemicals like this. I resent it a little, but what choice do I have? With a sigh, I begin my new daily ritual of taking the right number of pills from each bottle, being careful to check the correct dosages. I lie down again, feeling hollow and uncertain. After that, I keep staring at the blank, unfamiliar ceiling for a long time. It doesn't start to look any more familiar, not even after darkness falls and long shadows draw across my room like fingers. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable, warm and nest-like against the chill that passes for room temperature here. Soon, the lighter shade of darkness that is the ceiling looks like every ceiling does at night, and it becomes the only thing I recognize anymore. The night beckons me to sleep, and I feel the coldness of unfamiliarity and fear creeping up my spine once again. I keep drifting further away from the world I knew. Holy crap! That was just still day 1. I wake up in a strange room. Solid morning light shimmers against the light gray ceiling. I'd forgotten to draw the curtains closed last night. That's an eye. Eye? This is my room, isn't it? My room. This is the 3rd room this year that I'm supposed to call mine. Various things around here remind me that indeed, it's me who's supposed to be the one living here. Bags on the floor, my new school books on the desk, my numerous medications on the night table. Stare at the bottles for a moment, deliberating, until I open a bottle, shake out a pill, and pop out a tablet from a foil sheet. I down them with a chaser of water without thinking about the chemistry. My uniforms are in the closet. I slink out from under the sheets and stretch my back before dressing up. Putting on a new school uniform feels like dressing in someone else's clothes. The artificial smell of generic detergent invades my nose. The feeling of fresh cloth against my back is a good one, a natural one. It feels like a school uniform as it should. It's not much different from what I'm used to wear before. That goes for other things too. So far, this place seems more or less like a normal school. Except for the people. I think back to my talk with Kenji yesterday, Misha's constant laughter, and Shizune's sweeping sign language gestures. Well, I've only met 3 students so far. Maybe they aren't that normal, but I'm sure others are. Or perhaps people like them are what passes for normal around here. Yeah, it does pass for normal around here. What do people do? I didn't see a lot of kids hanging around after class yesterday, so maybe there are clubs. If so, I wonder if I should join one. All through class, the question remains on my mind, so I decided to ask Shizune about it when we split into groups. They do a lot of group work in this school, like my god. After all, she did say if I had anything I wanted to know, I should ask her. She crosses her arms and shifts her gaze slowly to Misha, who looks more preoccupied with trying to grind the eraser of her pencil down so that the top is perfect and evenly flat. Shizune, you just look adorable, not mad.
Sorry, Shi-chan. Is there something you wanted from me? Oh, I see. That's a good question, He-chan.
My first thought is that it means she doesn't know, which is worrying. Maybe I'm being too negative. Well, anyway, Misha, please don't prove me right.
Oh, that's right. Everyone is encouraged to join a club. A lot of people do so because there isn't really anything else to do. There are also school events, like the festival coming up in a few days. Almost every student in school tends to help out with it, doing whatever. So, you actually transferred in at a busy time. Maybe you can help out too?
Sure. What's the festival about? Misha freezes. Insert wahaha here. Oh, good lord. What have I gotten myself into?
I don't know, He-chan. Truth is, it's a local event, and I'm not from the area, so...
She starts signing desperately to Shizune, asking her to bail her out. Shizune adjusts her glasses at the end of an oddly grandiose flourish and starts signing hard and heavy.
Huh? Oh. Who cares?
Misha puffs out her chest as she shouts Shizune's words out for me with a disproportionate amount of pride. Too loud. I can see heads turning to look in our direction. Not so loud.
Human beings evolve with each new generation. The ideas and beliefs behind a festival will inevitably change with time. Now, it's about delicious fried food and amusing little games you play to win prizes.
Teacher clears his throat very loudly, batting his long wooden pointer against his other palm like a baton. He shoots a pointed gaze at us. Finally noticing where we are, Misha stifles a yelp and quickly quiets down. Shizune doesn't seem embarrassed at all, though, brushing it off without a care. There we go.
We're in the middle of class and we should start working. That's right, Shi-chan. What? That's right. He-chan, are you asking because you're interested in joining a club?
Could have been my eyes playing tricks on me, but I think I saw a suspicious glance exchanged between them. Misha's tone has also changed, although it does that every other word anyway. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Misha and Shizune look at each other again. I'm about to ask what they have in mind when something dark flutters in my peripheral vision, catching my attention. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the girl with long dark hair get up from her desk and slip silently toward the door. Doesn't seem like she's working in any group, and no one seems to notice her but me. Glance at the teacher, who's also looking at the dark-haired girl, go. Why doesn't he say anything?
Hey, Chan. Is something wrong?
Do I look as uneasy as I feel? Or was Misa just looking at me, looking after the girl who left? No, nothing.
Okay. Well, like we were asking, you don't have any plans for lunch today, do you?
I thought I would go to the library and pick up some books. Not really.
Do you want to have lunch together then?
Sure. Insert wahaha here. Jesus Christ. Oh, freaking Misha. Oh my god, I cannot wait to get out of Act 1.
Yeah! Okay, Hee-chan. Perfect!
Good lord. The rest of class passes uneventfully. The girl with long hair never came back. Before I have the time to put any more thought into where she could have gone, the teacher informs us it's time to stop working. Shizune looks more than a little annoyed that we only just barely managed to finish all our work on time. I'm just glad we finished it at all. It's not a contest or anything.
Yes, it is, Hee-chan.
Impossible.
Really?
Really. I've noticed this before, but it's kind of funny how Misha is always moving her hands and signing not only everything she says, but what anyone else is saying at any given time. Obviously, it must be so Shizune can understand it. Her eyes dart back and forth between Misha's hands and me. I don't know who I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm talking to Misha, but that might be wrong. Maybe I should face Shizune. I'm used to looking in the direction of the person whose voice I'm hearing, but really, Shizune can't hear me. It would be disrespectful to talk to her only through Misha. Then again, isn't that what she's doing? No, she's at least looking at me. This is all very confusing. It'll take some time to get used to. It's not a contest, because contests are competitions over a prize. If there's no prize on the line, it's not really a contest. Shizune's eyes flash dangerously with a competitive glare. She stares at me as if surprised that I'm challenging her. I think maybe this is a contest to her. I never noticed before how dark and blue her eyes are. It's truly an alluring gaze.
Are you sure, Hee-chan?
Very sure.
You're wrong, Hee-chan. Because I don't want to be the slowest one in the class. Therefore, what's on the line is my confidence in my abilities, and the prize is the satisfaction of proving them.
Insert wahaha here. Shizune pushes her glasses up to the bridge of her nose in a very matter-of-fact way. I'd argue more, but the bell rings, and she quickly gets up and picks up her bag, looking at me expectantly. I'd almost forgotten that I was supposed to have lunch with them.
Where do you want to eat?
The cafeteria?
That's so plain. Okay, let's go.
Plain? Well, I guess. At my old school, I liked to eat outside, near the back of the building. It was a good spot, but I didn't find it till near the end of my freshman year. I wonder if there's a similar place to eat here. Misha seems to imply as much. Shizune and Misha pulled me toward the cafeteria, which is surprisingly not packed. Maybe some students favoring eating in classroom or outdoors. I saw some of my classmates had boxed lunches. After we finish eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier.
So, Hee-chan, you want to know about clubs and stuff, right? Right? Right, Shi-chan. Of course, I guess it makes sense to ask first.
Exchanging little nods of confirmation, they turn to face me again, and Misha straightens her posture as if she's about to deliver a speech.
Hee-chan, do you have anything you're really interested in?
I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams, the players, or anything like that. As of late, I usually just read a lot.
There is a book club, right, Shi-chan? Right. But it seems like they have all the members they can possibly have right now. Sorry, Hee-chan. It's a really popular club.
Oh good, we don't have to go to a literature club. We all know what happens in a literature club.
Okay, but more to the point, Hee-chan. Does this mean you don't have anything already in mind?
Not really.
Good! Great! That's great, Hee-chan! Really great!
Insert wahaha here. I'm just gonna do that from now on. I'm not even gonna say it, just insert wahaha here. Why is it so great?
No reason. Well, Hee-chan, other than clubs and the upcoming festival, there is one other thing. Student Council!
I see. I didn't know this school had a student council. It was a very melodramatic setup, though, just to tell me that. I'm pretty sure the two of them know this, because Shizune looks a little embarrassed about it, and Misha is laughing. Shizune quickly retakes control of the discussion, in a manner of speaking. After all, it's still Misha who has to voice whatever she says.
Right. Hee-chan, maybe you should join the student council. They could use more people. Yes, definitely. You should definitely join.
Why?
Well, for one, we can hang out every day, Hee-chan. Shi-chan and I are both in the student council. Actually, Shi-chan is the president.
I'm starting to get the suspicion that Shizune and Misha might not exactly be the most unbiased people to talk about this with. As if reading my mind, Shizune quickly adjusts her glasses and signs something to Misha.
Of course, we're not trying to get you to join just because we would obviously benefit from you joining the student council, and therefore have an incentive to try and get you to...
So you're admitting that?
No, we admit nothing. I mean, Hee-chan, of course it would be nice if you joined, and we'd appreciate it. But even without all that, joining the student council shows a healthy interest in the workings of one's school. Yep, it's true, Hee-chan. Besides, don't you want to spend time with us after school, Hee-chan?
Oh my god. Can I get away from these two, please? I can't tell if she's being genuine or if this is just really good acting. Both of them seem to be trying hard to look their cutest, although they're already pretty cute to begin with. Well,
So it's settled then. Welcome to the student council, He-chan.
what? No, no!
Aww. See, She-chan? Of course it wouldn't go so easily. Yep, that's right though. It would have to be boring if it went that smoothly. Oh well. She-chan owes me candy now.
We're betting on it? Hey, my life is not a game here. Shizune seems very intrigued by this when Misha signs it to her. The aggressive glint returns to her eyes. Insert wahaha here.
That's interesting, He-chan. Let's play a game.
That's not what I said.
How about Rich Man Poor Man, He-chan? If you lose, you have to join the student council.
No, absolutely not.
Aw, why not?
Well, because you two both have the same incentive, and therefore the same goal, which is to get me to join the student council, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that isn't my goal. But what this means is that both of you can team up, and I'll be at a clear disadvantage. So I will have to decline.
He-chan, I'm very offended. Are you saying you don't trust us? And that we would pull something so disingenuous? That makes me sad.
Sorry? It's hard to tell where Shizune's influence ends and Misha's thoughts begin.
In order to atone for hurting a young girl's feelings, you should definitely join the student council.
No!
How about a game of paper football instead of Rich Man Poor Man?
Paper football?
Yeah! It's a game they play in America. You make a paper triangle and then you try to shoot it past goalposts that the other person makes with their fingers. Isn't it cool? It's the ultimate form of competition between two people, He-chan. And it's also played by elementary and middle school children, She-chan.
Insert wahaha here.
That means it's a game that really separates the boys from the men.
More like the boys from the slightly older boys. Anyway, I'm not gonna play that either. Just the fact you know about it means you're probably surprisingly good at it.
Yeah, that's true. How'd you know, He-chan?
Shizune frowns at Misha, telling me that she probably wasn't supposed to admit that so readily. I wouldn't say that I'm happy with their attempts to get me to join the student council, but I'm a little curious about what the student council does here. I've never been on one before, or even known anyone who was a member, so it interests me. I also kinda like Shizune and Misha, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Oh, you poor, poor, naive boy.
Okay, He-chan, how about Risk? The game of world domination.
I don't know what that is. Sao, you uncultured swine!
It's really fun, He-chan. You fight for control of the world with armies and everything.
Sounds like Shizune would be good at it.
If you want to play, we can after school. Ah, really, She-chan? We can just play for fun, He-chan. She-chan hasn't played in a long time, so if you want to, there's no strings attached.
Well, okay.
Okay. Perfect. We'll see you after school in the student council room then, He-chan.
Wait, why there?
Because That's where we keep the game.
Answer wahaha here. I grimace to tell them how much I do not like this, but it's more for show than anything. So in the end I agree, but only after getting Shizune to acknowledge that I don't mean anything concrete, just by accepting to take a look around and play a game with her. Lunch ends and we go back to class. During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back and sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice, or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, covering each flank in case I might try to escape. I feel a little offended, but I had been considering it. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people had to make a break for in the past that they're on their guard. What's with the escort? This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to his cell. Is there Wahaha here?
What's wrong, Hee-chan? That's right, we're just going to play a game of Risk, remember?
I don't know, Misha. This all seems a little sinister to me. I start thinking that when we sit down to play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. Well, that's highly unlikely, but still. For some reason, it just seems like it would be so plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. What? That's it? This makes you guys being so on top of me seem a little silly.
That's not true, Hee-chan. Shi-chan says that when their life is threatened, people are shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed.
Life is threatened? Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's very plain, sparsely decorated room, although it is quite large, maybe even a little larger than a classroom. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs and a smaller desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with old school records and documents. Not much else. In fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. Could at least put a potted plant in here or something. But the most noticeable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early?
No.
What do you mean, no? Does that mean no one else is coming in today?
Yeah, that's right.
Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically.
Hee-chan, let's play Risk. Come on, you promised, didn't you? You have to. Okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain to you while we set everything up.
While Misha is talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it onto the table. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking running through the basics with somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off on me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game, while I try to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from two fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers on the table to get my attention.
He-chan, She-chan wants you to know that you're taking too long to make a move. She-chan also says she will let you keep Australia if you agree to join the student council.
I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head as an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no!
She-chan admires your fighting spirit and would be a benevolent dictator who will spare your people if you agree to join the student council.
You're so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take this as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more... I don't know what the hell that word means. Magnanimous, something, words. One time, I play a visual novel, and the teacher isn't here. Oh, magnanimous. Okay.
Magnanimous?
She doesn't seem to know what the word means or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in return signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index fingers against her temple as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing.
Wait, please slow down, She-chan. He-chan, She-chan says you're going to lose.
Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion.
Ah, okay.
Those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. Jesus Christ, that face.
She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't.
Alright, I'm going to save here. And I'm in fact going to call it... I'm going to call that a day, because, well, I'm already beyond 2 hours, and my god, my throat is very, very dry. Now I know how Jen feels when she does this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So, thanks everyone who tuned in for that. Tomorrow, we'll be streaming at 10 o'clock, and we're going to be finishing Tales of Symphonia. We're going to fight the final boss and just get through it. Not going to be very long. That being the case, depending on how long it'll actually take me, probably not very long, I may just use the rest of that stream to continue on with this. Just to try and get a little more of Act 1 done before Wednesday. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, everyone, and I'll see you next time.